Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, we're live. Okay, Partner Tracks 2024, specific to the HubSpot ecosystem. I'm Alex. Sorry about my weird hat. It's all part of the theme here. I'll be your conductor today, and it's
Nice.
only available in a child's size, so it doesn't really fit. If you haven't been to one of these events, what we try to do is get a lot of experts in an ecosystem together to give us the lay of the land, what's happening. Partnerships, of course, is the main topic of conversation. Lots going on in the HubSpot ecosystem. So we want to try to get not all your FAQs answered. There's plenty of resources for that with related to the changes that are going on. But here, what we want to do is talk to top agencies in the program and find out what they're doing in this session. I'm going to bow out and let Clodagh moderate. Clodah's been in the HubSpot ecosystem forever. And Rob Sale and Paul, let you guys do your intros if you don't know these two individuals. But I'll bow out. Clodagh, you can do your intro, and then go ahead and you guys start the intro, okay?
Thanks, Alex.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Alex. We can take over. Now, when he says forever, that is approximately 16 years. So thanks, Alex, for that. I've had my own agency, worked for HubSpot for 4.5 years. I've had 3 agencies, actually, just small little ones. And now I'm an agency coach and consultant and help agencies, mainly HubSpot ones, get everything that they want, have dream agencies. Paul, tell us a little bit about you and your role in Avidly.
Hi, I'm Paul, head of marketing at Avidly for the past 9 months or so, and before that, I've around 7 or 8 years on the client side, more in the sort of content, creative, website strategy side of what we've done as an agency. And prior to that, in the days of Digital 22 UK agency, and then joined Avidly a couple of years ago, and I've worked with Rob in previous role where I worked with sort of our Vidyard partnership and our Vidyard services, and worked closely with when Rob was in that former role at Vidyard and his team there. So it was great to see his name on the invite as well when it came through.
Super, thanks, Paul. And Rob, to see you again, reincarnated on the other side.
I know. I'm looking forward so much to this discussion and seeing a bunch of old friends. Paul, yes. As Paul mentioned, I have been in the HubSpot ecosystem for some time, first at Vidyard, building out the Vidyard relationship over with HubSpot. But now I am at Six Flow as the head of partnerships globally, as well as looking after Canada as the country manager and our North American business and making sure we're growing that as well. So yes, my time with HubSpot at Vidyard was wonderful, and I got to partner up with wonderful folks like Clodagh and Paul, so it's great to be back.
Well, it is great to have you, especially, with all your depth of experience, and now you're going to be able to help us in this partnership space. Paul, we'll start off with you. What is going on with Avidly right now in relation to the partnerships and your growth? Talk to us about what's going on there.
Yeah, partnerships is I have quite a bit of exposure to. So when I say head of marketing, I'm internal for Avidly marketing. So I've come off the client facing side of marketing and head up our team, marketing the agency itself. And I'm part of the revenue team alongside the sales guys, the CRM management, and work with Barbara, who's the CRO. And so part of what I do is work with partners in terms of finding things via Partner Hub or looking at opportunities and seeing if anything comes up that we want to explore or have the bandwidth for, and that kind of thing. So I really enjoy that part of things. I'm involved in a few bits with a couple of other HubSpot partners in the Nordic region. We've got an event we're running in tandem with the guys at Tree and Amesto Growth, and plenty of tech that we're exploring. So we've got a few projects on the go with ClickUp, Typeform, and Smock AI that we're exploring to build out services for, and also doing some exciting things with seeing their new products and user feedback and things like that. So I really enjoy the collaboration and everyone aiming in the same direction. I've really really enjoying that with those tech solutions at the minute, and also meeting good guys over at Tree and Amesto who I'd never would have worked with previously if it wasn't for the partnership. So that's what we're doing at the moment. Yeah.
I'm curious to know. I've worked with Avidly in the very beginning when it was 2 agencies coming together. So
Right.
curious to hear how big the agency is now, how many countries. I just heard about Hype and Dexter there before Christmas.
Yeah. So we've got sort of legal entities in 9 countries and studios in 8, and we've got remote people who are employed from some of those studios in 20 countries in total. The Hype and Dexter one's exciting because it's something we talked about back in Digital 22 days before we became part of Avidly, of just the power of having that network around the time zones, particularly APAC for us, because for certain roles, that just means you are a 24-hour delivery operation. So like developers, writers, anything that's, I don't know what the right word is, but hand-offable, it just broadens that width of delivery and scope, and different skill sets and attitudes as well for client-facing roles, and understanding like the markets in the different regions, whether it's customer facing and knowing how they like to communicate, or even just literally like language changes and cultural changes for, say, Latin America compared to Northern Europe.
Nice. Yeah. So other question for you on that as well, like how big is your partnership tech stack right now? Like approximately what could you be?
Funny enough, it's on my list to do another redraft of the partner page at the moment, because we've brought on a couple, like you say, like Smock AI, ClickUp and Typeform as the main lead 3, but that's layering on top of HubSpot as our primary. That's our bread and butter. But we've also got Vidyard that we've already mentioned as a video partner. And then we have a whole bunch of other tools that are just layered into how we work. So things like 7th Sense email sending, and there's a whole range of them, especially with the tech team who will do a lot of integration work with things like Make, or as many as he can get his hands on, I think.
Yes. He's in the sand pit there playing with everything. I know Izzy very well. Yeah. So you're ideally in a position to speak out, if we bring it on to HubSpot, because that's what today's event is all about. So you will have seen and probably gone through that transition where HubSpot was going to be the solution for everything. It's going to be your email, it's going to be your website, it's going to be your social media. Now you're moving into this tech stack. Can you tell me more about the positioning of what you guys are doing with all these changes that have happened in HubSpot, and how you're pivoting, I guess?
Yeah, I must admit the sort of HubSpot partnership is something I've not had a lot of exposure to over the years, but I'm seeing when you talk about HubSpot being a bit of a solution for everything, that's a conversation that actually came up this morning at a HubSpot user group event in Manchester with one of our companies who attends, or one of the attendees of the event. They're using the HubSpot survey tool, for example, for their customer NPS, and they had a few queries about how to use it as a start, and how to use it how they wanted it. But also the discussion led to that HubSpot's not a customer survey tool, and they've got plenty of integrations available with specialist customer survey tools that they'll be able to leverage and either connect the data natively or with some sort of manual connection. And I think that's where our tech partnerships we've decided to lean into more this year, where HubSpot can't go, I don't know what the correct tech phrases are, but sort of vertical enough on certain solutions because it's covering so much. So then getting tactical with a tech solution to plug in that can go and do something more in depth. For example, Smock AI's AI capabilities on, it's basically a super chatbot, but it can do more than the HubSpot out of the box one can. And for example, we can do more with Typeforms than you can HubSpot forms and so on. And that's helping us to leverage HubSpot at the center of it further. By getting, that's a tool, like we saw it with Vidyard, didn't we, Rob, where HubSpot video, for example, can do X, but Vidyard can do X, Y, and Z. And then if you really want to lean into it, that's where you can we rolled out Vidyard for customers. If you just want to do X on its own, fine, stick with HubSpot Video.
Yeah. Now, you're one of the largest agencies which we have seen reflect in the partner program in HubSpot. So you know you're still in there. You're still working with them at a high level. But I did notice recently that you've gone from serving a customer per country to serving it per department. Now, how is that going? How has HubSpot accommodated that for you guys?
As in the tool, or
as in the partnership, because if you're an agency in Sweden, you're going to get a Swedish representation channel account manager. So have they been able to go global with you guys the way you're going global with your delivery?
It's pretty much region wise. So we've got contacts with who look after the different areas in terms of like Benelux, Northam, APAC. So yeah, it's because like I said before, the intricacies of the markets in the different areas, or the language, or the time zones even, just needs that. So I think something as well has been illuminating for me is that I know they have a lot of bums on seats compared to us agencies, HubSpot, but a lot of those guys must be on tech and must be on direct, and even things like their marketing department and their partner department are kind of stretched in terms of being spread a bit thin, I think, for who they're trying to cover. So it comes down to a lot of changes as well as few people. So like the person who was your contact, if you don't need to speak to them for a few weeks, when you go back, they perhaps have a slightly different role or something like that.
Right. You're
so
seeing that.
Yeah, I'm seeing that as it's a big machine to be part of, and you need to know who to ask at the right times for the right things, and staying on top of that can be a bit tricky. Rob's nodding. I don't know if that's...
Yeah. Well, over to you with that, Rob. I know you're new to the Six Flow team, but you are very experienced when it comes to partnerships, HubSpot, the whole thing. But talk to me about what partnerships, what are you doing in that partnership role when it comes to Six Flow, and what have you yourself and Rich decided to focus on this year and the future?
Yeah, and just to follow up on Paul's comment and finish that thought is, I'm new coming into it I used to partner with HubSpot from an app perspective, from being a technology perspective, and now being on the agency side. So I'm learning more about the program as I'm getting into it. So, and how we live and operate within the program. So yeah, with the changes that happen, I think directionally we like the changes and where they're going. Was it a shock? Yes. Was there a change? Yes. And so we had a really wonderful team in our CAM and CC, and they were truly an extension of us. And so if you can get to that mode where you've got a really good extension of you as an agency representing you inside of HubSpot, we were in a really, really good place. So streamlining down to a single point of contact makes a lot of sense, but the change did result in a pullback of resources, but it makes sense financially for HubSpot, and they're reinvesting into the program. And so directionally, it looks good. But it's only a couple weeks in, so we'll see how things flow out as a result of that. But it's a bit of relearning how to optimize under this new model when we were really optimized under the previous model. And it never hurts to have more voices for you, advocating for you inside internally, and navigating those conversations, just as Paul had talked about. It's like who to talk to and when. And you do need to invest in that element of the partner program. You really do. And it's not I'll just sit back and I hope things happen. It's very proactive in your management internally. And so if I can provide some advice around there, coming in, fresh eyes around it, don't ignore that element of the program and just hope. You really do need to put some strategic thought around it.
Yeah. And so from other partnerships, like what kind of new partnerships are you, or is there a focus, or?
Yeah. So one of the first things, I'm new to Six and Flow for about, I've been here for about 3 months. One of the first things that we did was really sort of take a review of where we're at with our partnership. So we wanted to strategically review everything. And I think, like many agencies, we've gone into partnerships not truly understanding what the partnership is or what the implications could be, or we're chasing what sounds great and so on. So we wanted to develop, the first thing we did is develop a framework on how to assess and score. We built out a partner scoring model. And the other part that we worked really hard on is operationalizing what we've done in the last 10 years with HubSpot, and then being able to turn that towards other complementary partnerships to HubSpot. So the things that we are strategically wanting to move forward on are the areas in where HubSpot is growing. So HubSpot has grown from a marketing platform to a platform that truly does encompass so much of the go-to-market motion. So we want to make sure we're tracking to that growth, and we're looking at strategic complementary partners that get us there as well, that have large opportunities, large TAMs, but that they approach partnerships the right way. And we want to know if we're putting our full resource into that and we're making a strategic bet around something that, we're going to be mutually successful, and not all programs are there. So I think what we've done is reevaluated our partnerships, taken a look at them. We started building business cases around them, really to truly make sure that when we say, yes, we're going to do this, it means a very significant investment in that partnership. And, we don't take that lightly, because we're going to drive mutual outcomes, and it's a big investment. So we've done the partner scoring, we've done the operational model, and now we're building out our priorities. And some of the new priorities that we're focusing in on that are complementary to what we do with HubSpot is stuff around comms and communications. Partner tech is another big one that we see a lot of opportunity, and then revenue operations. So we've evolved our messaging and our model and what we serve from marketing and sales related to really go to market. We are a go to market agency in that, which really tracks HubSpot's trajectory and growth. And we sort of want to track that well. And so we're putting the right partnerships in place to help customers get there from a go-to-market perspective. So a lot's changed in 3 months.
I can hear that. Curious to know how many partnerships, when you were evaluating, how many are you working with, like approximately, or the tech stack, or the, what's the ballpark number there?
Yeah, I mean, HubSpot's strategic, right? So they always remain at the top, and then we've got some other that are just below that. So strategic from like sort of a tier 1, 2, and 3. Some are important to us from a lot of clients we bump into each other all the time, and we need to know and use them and so on. But perhaps it's a lighter touch program. It's maybe some co-marketing. But one of the key things that we really need to be able to evaluate is whether or not we can truly build a practice around somebody, right? Like a complement, like we built a practice around HubSpot. Can we build a practice around you, Partner X, and so on? So we've got some really interesting partnerships with, like, Dialpad, for example. Vidyard's a partner. Got a new one coming up that we'll talk about soon, which is really exciting. some more in the revenue operation space, which is super exciting for us, as well as that part of the business is growing very well.
Brilliant. Yeah, I just wanted to know, because I've seen this new, for some agencies, this new role come up really as the partnerships manager, because subsequently it had been under somebody else's hat, and then it obviously gets to a point where, hang on, that we can justify this needs management, this needs the relationship, this needs the analysis, it needs its full-time capability. So it's great to see you in the role as well. So thank you for sharing some of that insights. You guys work with agencies. Can you give us a little bit more on your agency to agency model? And then I'd like to, because I know Paul does as well.
Yeah, do you want me to go first, or?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So a couple of years ago, Rich set up a Global Hub Alliance. So it's a consortium of top tier agencies that work together from global regions, as Paul mentioned, having that global coverage, not only time zone, but resource and expertise. We don't do some type of services where others will. And so it allows us to provide a network of like-minded agencies that work well together and that offer complementary services in geographic regions. So the whole purpose of it is to allow us to be able to serve customers globally and thoroughly across all geographies and requirements. And so that works very much in that we don't try to co-manage and get on top of one another. We all respect that everybody manages their customer in a very unique and positive way. And so we like to, we'll run a project for a certain set of requirements. Maybe it's a revenue operations, and then we'll work with one of our Global Hub Alliance partners in North America, for example, to do e-commerce or to run a website or something like that. So it's very complementary, and the customer gets the full experience across both agencies, where we're not trying to go like a through manage model doesn't really, in our opinion, work so well. It needs to be more like hand off, and you do the work and let that agency run how it does business so well, right? So you're not getting in each other's way. You're not fumbling over anything. There's clear communication and lines. So that it works well that way.
People playing to their strengths, letting people do what they're good at. Yeah, love that. Paul, how does that work when it comes to Avidly? Because we can see that Avidly's been branching out and acquiring other agencies all around the world in all different kind of fields. So, but aside of those agencies, what does a partnership look like when you're working with others?
You broke up a little bit there, but I think you're asking just how we work with agencies outside of acquisitions.
Yes, that's right.
Of course. Yeah. So, I mean, a good example is the Nordic Growth Summit in April. We're working with Tree and Amesto that I mentioned, and that's all based on relationships with each other and where that's come from. I don't know the exact legal particulars and stuff that have been sorted in terms of financials, but those of us who are working on the marketing and selling of it are just leaning on each other's relationships and trust with each other, and working with each other in a separate space from our day-to-day for Avidly or Tree or Amesto. So I'm thinking of how we work with Emily or Camilla at Tree and Knut and the team at Amesto and Matt's. Myself and Emily from Avidly work with those guys. We meet up a couple of times a week. We are doing it a lot of, we work in our own processes. They work in their own processes. Amesto work in their own processes. But when we meet in the middle, there's a lot of adapting and helping each other out. So a good example of that is something as simple as trying to get some graphics for social. We use Adobe, Tree use Figma, and they send the Figma link, and I'm not sure how to use that, and there's a lot of teething problems to work together. So I can see how sometimes these partnerships might start up and then fall off quite quickly. So I think where I'm getting to is basically it's as good as the people involved in the partnership is something that I think make or breaks it. And if you've got a good relationship of trust and willingness to be working with each other, that's what we're seeing makes it a success. When, I don't know, things might change with the partner program from HubSpot and so on and the setup, but if you've got a good relationship with people from your key partners like HubSpot are, or like we are with Tree and Amesto, then that's gonna make any role changes and tech stack brushing up against each other not quite cleanly. It makes it all a lot easier because you bought into helping each other. So like probably more common than anybody, Six and Flow and Avidly will go up against each other in the UK, but you can see me and Rob talking.
You know,
there's plenty. We're already arranging to have a catch up afterwards. We're not seeing each other for a couple of years. It's a small world anyway. I remember in my first ever job in construction out of college when I was 18, people talking about the construction world being a small place and people led. Well, it's a lot bigger than our world is. When you see all the familiar names, you see the names in the chat. It's all down to just people you can work well with, and I think that's what we're leaning into. End of the day, some people can do things better for the customer than you can. So it's that old philosophy of put that first, build that relationship, and work with each other.
Yeah, and having been inside the HubSpot ecosystem myself, I think whether it's HubSpot you're working with or any partnership, building multi-layer relationships, getting a dev, getting a support, getting a marketing, getting a salesperson, going right across the board and building multi-layer relationships, which I know Rob had talked about before. So that's a great tip as well. Speaking of tips, Rob, before we were coming online, you had a resource that, would you mind sharing a little bit more about that? Because I know we're going to share that as well with people afterwards.
Yeah, there's a couple things I can share for sure. So there was a guide that HubSpot put out, and it was about how to work with. It was aimed at the app partner. So, and it was like, hey, do you want to work with agencies? Well, then here are the things that you need to think about from a program perspective, and this is what matters to agencies, and this is what you need to cater your program to. I thought it was excellent. I'll send you the guide afterwards so we can post it over here. But from an agency perspective, do have a read at that, because you want to come at evaluating your tech partnerships really from this model. And like, are they co-service led? Are they co-sell led? Are they really putting access and programs in place so that you can drive value for your customer? Is it a value-driven program? Or is it a lead-driven program? So there were some really excellent tips in there as well. And we may also be putting together some stuff around the partner scoring model that we have internally, and we may also make that as a resource.
Beautiful. Thank you. Well, I don't know if there's any wrap-up questions there hanging around. I'm trying to keep an eye on two different things. Otherwise, I want to keep us on time. And I know, Alex, is there anything pressing in there, or was there just nice comments about how great it is to see everyone?
Yeah, I mean, there was a good question about the CSM situation. I'll try to scroll up and find it. It's from Tim Jones. What made your CAM and CC a good extension of your business? What does that look like with your PDM? Lots of acronyms. Paul, I think that one would be for you, maybe Clodagh too. Probably, but if Rob, if you have any insight on that.
Yeah, feel free to jump in, Rob. I think it's not something that sits on my plate readily. I'm not sure what all those acronyms are exactly, but I think
you gotta spin. If it was an exam, I failed.
I think
I got CAM. I got that one. CC, yeah, I don't know.
CAM,
yeah.
Partner Development Manager, I believe, is PDM. I think. Yeah.
I'm not sure myself, but I hazard a guess. It's all about relationships, like we said, because I think being up, what you were saying in your last answer, Rob, I think something I've found with people trying to strike up partnerships with Avidly via myself is there has to be something that we can both help the customer with and bring value with. If it's just purely, where's your overspill, or what can you give me for free? I just don't think that's the route to go with anybody. it'd be a very cold business relationship that could end at the flick of a switch anyway. So why would you want that? But also it'd be pretty hellish to be part of and not fun. So why would you want that either? So I think back to that, building a relationship with them, and that takes effort and it takes genuine buy-in. In a relationship building way.
Rob, anything to add to that? And we'll have to jump off here.
Yeah, just really quickly on that. When I say they were an extension of our team, they truly were. I mean, like, they were spending so much of their time with us on a weekly basis, but that's also because as an agency, we've made a conscious effort to really get good at selling HubSpot. So we weren't just looking for handouts on services, but we were actually generating opportunity and bundling that in. And so we had exceptional people that really looked out for us, and we were mutually looking out for them and their goals. And we got good, and we are very good at selling HubSpot alongside of packaged services, and that helps them hit their goals and helps ourselves hit our goals. So it's a win-win, and they really dive in when you can show that you can help in that way as well. So
yeah.
Well, it was great to see Alex and Rob again. Thank you very much for your insights and your input. Lovely to meet you, Paul, for the first time. And I will hop off. Thank you, everyone.
We'll be heading over to the first track session. All those 3 tracks are on the same session, by the way, guys. So we'll see everyone in there. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Chloe, for moderating. Great insights. We'll see everyone in the other session. Ending this one, heading over. Thanks, guys.